Okay, hi there, everybody. I'm trying for the first time to do a screen recording, so bear with me. All right, we're going to go over the exercise you did for lab week 6, and so let's review the instructions and then go over it. Put an N by the nominalized sentence and a V by the sentence that uses strong verbs. Bold the nominalizations in the N sentence and bold the verbs in the V sentence. Now rewrite each sentence in the pair to make it the other kind. That is, turn the N into a V and the V into an N. Now to do this, you can imitate the structure of the other sentences, and I believe this one even gave you, I'll try to change the nominalizations into verb and try to change the verbs into nominalizations. Okay, and I think it's really useful to bold these changed forms in the sentences you wrote so we can see it. So if we go now to the first one that I gave an example of, it says, some have argued that carbon dioxide in the atmosphere will almost certainly elevate global temperature. Well, we can see that argued became argument, elevate became elevation, and we get something like this. There has been an argument that carbon dioxide in the atmosphere will almost certainly result in an elevation of global temperature. So I put a V by this one because this is using argued and elevate are verbs, and they're very clear. And then argued becomes a noun, argument, and elevate becomes a noun, elevation. Let's try this one. Now this I put noun because you can see it's already got these nouns in it: speculation, effect, and achievement. So what we want to do is we want to try to turn those into verbs. So speculation becomes speculate. Effect is a little more difficult. I just got rid of it when I rewrote it, and achievement would need to become something like achieve. So it went from there has been speculation by educators as to the positive effect of a good family environment on educational achievement. And then I changed it to educators have speculated that a good family environment helps children to achieve more in school. And notice I had to, in order to make this work, what we have when we put in good strong verbs, we also have to put on subjects. And that's something we'll see even more in the next lesson, but when we get to chapter 3 or lesson 3 in the book. So educators now becomes the subject of speculates. So you notice that educators is over here in this by educators, and then we brought it around. Educators have speculated. And then I couldn't really deal with effect, but I could deal with achievement. So a good family environment helps children to achieve more in school. Notice how much shorter the sentence is than the original and how much more direct. So generally speaking, the whole point of these exercises is that usually the verb sentence with strong verbs is going to be the clear sentence. With strong subjects and strong verbs is going to be the clear sentence. That's not always the case. Why is it good to go ahead and practice making the ones that are supposedly not as good? You're just you're getting more tools in your tool chest, and to feel that how to tell the relationship between nominalizations and their verb forms, between the noun form and the verb form of a word. So let's do this one. I'm going to do a couple of them from scratch, then I'll show you the result on a few others. So here, I'm smoking may lead to fetal injury. So what I notice is I don't know who's smoking, and I don't know exactly, well, I do know who's injured. It's the fetus. So I need to give this a subject. So I'm saying this, so this is in noun form. Smoking is the subject. But what I want to do is I want to change that to a verb. So first of all, and I think I can change smoking into smoke, and I can change injury into injure. So I do that. Now let me see if I can create a sentence that does that. So, women, and since women get, so we got to have a subject. Well, since women are usually the ones who smoke, or who get pregnant, sorry about that, the ones who get pregnant. So we say women who smoke during pregnancy may injure the fetus, their fetus. Okay, actually we don't need that comma there. So smoke is now a verb, and so is injure. And the subject is women. Now there's other ways you can do that. I'll do it another way. If you smoke when pregnant, you may injure your fetus. Okay, or the fetus. So again, We can see how smoking went to smoke and injury went to injure. Let's do another one. Okay. Now here this is a strong verb because we have we write, readers understand. So there's our verbs. Okay, so I'm going to bold those. So now what I got to do is I need to try to change those into nouns. And I'll just start trying. When writing is concise, understanding becomes easier for readers. And those, so there I changed write to writing, and I changed understand to understanding. And in the process of doing that, I kind of got rid of my subjects. We write is gone. Readers, I moved to the back. You could actually write this sentence without it. Like I could take the readers out, right? And we just have when writing is concise, understanding becomes easier. And I think we can all see that generally this sentence at first is a better one. When we write concisely, readers understand more easily. I don't like that more easily. I think I just say readers understand better, or I don't know. But so when writing is concise, understanding becomes easier. And you can see how we kind of lose our subjects. It's not as forceful. Let me see how I'm doing on time. Just a minute. So I'm going to pause this. Okay, so continuing, let's go ahead and do another. So when AIDS researchers have identified, well, see, I have my subjects, researchers and identified. So this is strong verbs. So I highlight my verbs, have failed, will immunize, all those strong verbs. And we have our subject, researchers. That will immunize those at risk. Yeah, so the AIDS researchers is the subject of identified, subject of failed, but then vaccine is the subject of immunized. So now we're going to change those into nouns. And identified could be identification, failed could be failure, and immunized could be immunization. So let's see if we can do that. If and something else we can do is we can try to use this one here to show us how to do this one. I forgot to do that on the others, and that's also what a lot of you did. But see, this sort of is our model. So let's let me pause for a second and think about it. Okay, well, I'm going to just start trying something. Immunization, identification of the AIDS virus has been successful. I don't know. But there has been a failure in the development. I'm going to change develop too. Look, yeah, let's change that too. A failure in the development of a vaccine that would allow for immunization. And then we could even stop there because we don't, for example. And so now there, I think I pulled it off. And you can see how it's like kind of a clunky sentence, right? But that's sort of the idea. But so you're getting practice and seeing the relationship between these nouns and their verb forms. And you're also seeing how you can write two different kinds of sentences. And usually the verbs type sentence is stronger. Yeah, so I should have put a V here. So you see how now we've got identification of the AIDS virus has been successful, but there has been a failure in the development of a vaccine that would allow for immunization. And so where are my verbs, by the way, in there? They're into usually these little sort of hidden verbs. Has been over here. Has been again. Here it's would allow for. You know, they're not strong verbs, unlike identify, fail, develop, immunize. So you can see how if you can use those strong verbs, you're usually going to have a stronger, clear sentence for the most part. We'll do one. Well, so let's do one more, and then I think I'll just show you how the others came out here. So let's do attempts. So you can see attempts by economists. You should already kind of notice that by economists, attempts by. No, let's get the subjects up front, right? We want economists attempting or to attempt. So we're going to make that we're going to turn that into a definition. Could be what? To define, right? We can make that into define. And that's already, okay, now that one is a verb. But notice, by the way, what is the subject of that verb? It's attempts have not achieved success. Attempts? Do attempts succeed at anything? No, it's people that tend to succeed at things. So that's what we want to do. We want to get our people there. We do have formulating, and we can probably make that better. Right now it is kind of a gerund, that is an ing type noun. So let's try this one, all right? So, who is attempting? Economists, right? So let's start out with economists. Economists have, I'm going to steal something from up here, though. I'm going to steal fail, right? Because we had that up here. So let's try this. Economists have failed, or I guess you could say, okay, I know what we'll do. We're going to do it a little differently. Okay, so we're going to try to get this idea of full success. So I'm going to turn success into a verb. Yeah, that's what I should do. So economists have not fully, to get the idea, succeeded. Notice I can get rid of the word achieve. I can just say, instead of saying achieve success, I say succeed. That means the same thing. To achieve success, to succeed. So just go ahead and say succeed. Economists have not fully succeeded. And then formulating principles for the definition. Well, what does all that mean, formulating for the principles for the definition of? How about let's just boil that down to define. Have not fully succeeded to define. But you know what? I can do better than that. Fully succeeded to define. Well, that just means they haven't defined, right? So why don't we just say economists have not defined, watch this, full employment. There, how about that? Economists have not defined full employment. Wow. So what we finally came down with was really one verb. Now, it could be that you want to say have not quite defined, have failed to define, or have not fully defined. Yeah, but then there's fully. I don't like that. Have not yet defined. Have not. Yeah. So notice when you really work on this, sometimes it really boils your sentences down. Okay. So let's go on down and see, or go somewhere to see how I did some of the rest of these. All right.